Welcome everyone to more open source Linux development and stuff live here on our channel. This recently added most quality of life improvement feature of T2 recently added the build time estimation. I just have a P3. No kidding, I have P3. I probably should have titled it. Oh no, nothing like lifting up your precious P3 and switching it on. I seriously have a P3 on my desk. Yay. Probably should have used it for the title for more YouTube engagement. But also I powered on the G5, so G5 building here. Dual core. I only ejected it. Now I switched it. I'm so stupid. So my point is, and this is why I added this, right? Since some week, T2 Linux, amazing rolling release source distribution, now estimates the build time, and this feature is so freaking amazing. I'm so in love. Finally, one thing I did right. Just need to switch off my precious DECR 1400. Can we switch off? That's off. And so one revelation is performance sometimes sucked, right? How did it start? It certainly with all the last year's videos, SJ Octane P3. I knew stuff builds long on vintage hardware, especially P3. The last time we did something major, like a year ago or two, emerged the Amiga emulator for some good Amiga gaming fun on your P3, and it took like 45 minutes or so. And also on the Mango Pi, single core, 1 gigahertz, stuff simple, relatively simple stuff like BTOP, the new amazing, right, you guessed it, top visualization stuff here running on the Ryzen. It built 48 minutes on the Mango Pi, and on a Raspberry Pi Zero it built 42 minutes or so. So yeah, this is why I wanted to add this for a long time, and I finally added it, and it's so amazing. This, by the way, is the G5, the fastest single socket G5 you never could get from Apple, because I upgraded that with 2.5 gigahertz previous video, right? 3 years ago. So this is dual core. It's SKU Apple never sold, a dual core 2.5 gigahertz from the quad core. So Apple only sold that processor in a quad core configuration. But I never wanted this liquid cooling because leaks and stuff and damages. So yeah, maybe I should I get the dual socket quad core? But yeah, performance, this is an estimate, right? I'm building this right now. So I built, and that is the thing, right? Topic of this video besides doing stuff. And that is an ARM Cortex A8 or so, Linksys AC 1900 access point. My point of this video is latest and greatest thread ripping and performance addiction. Is that killing the love for vintage and retro? Because it's certainly not fun when you, not only you can epic thread rip that in, I don't know, probably 20 seconds. The cool thing is we can just guesstimate it now, right? Dry run, bin utils, probably, a former build was added. Nah, darn, it doesn't, why does it not? Yeah, probably because I cleaned it. Nah, that's amazing. I believe it was, we built it a couple of times, so, always you want to show something and then something is broken. Yeah, 38 seconds. Like, yeah, it's a Ryzen 7950X overclocked, undervolted, liquid cooled. Here, 38 seconds versus nearly 38 minutes. Maybe how long are we building? Is this date accurate? I didn't. So we are building 12. Or are we only building for 12 minutes? Let's better not NTP it. How accurate is this time? 12, it's actually accurate except the time zone. Did I not? Okay, better not mess with the timing now. So maybe we only build for 10 minutes. Yeah, and that is the thing, right? It's so basically it is, so minutes is 60. You need to be careful with converting minutes to, yeah, with 60s. Why are we not using power of 10 for seconds and minutes? Yeah. So how much faster is it? So 30, so that is 10, but 60, that is too difficult mess for me now. Like basically two order, like, hey, let's talk in simple scientific terms. 2 orders of magnitudes faster, right? This is basically how far we have come from, yeah, soon, I mean, yeah, truth be told, it's 20 freaking years, right? And another nice project from us. So not only do I really love this build time estimation stuff, which sometimes it's mostly, I mean, yeah, 1 second, but otherwise it's pretty spot on. You see how spot on it is here on the Linksys access point, and the set. So P3 fans nearly need to be strong now. Please take a seat. Please relax. Please take some caffeine, because it's absolutely mind-blowing when you think about that an access point, probably like a dual core 1.6, I believe. Is it 1.6 or dual core? Yeah, 1.6. I believe it's 1.6 gigahertz. So dual core 1.6 gigahertz, and even that is end of life and outdated, right? It's basically the fastest access point I could buy 2 years ago, and even then it was already 2 years old, that still could run open source firmware, right? So until EU regulations and worldwide regulations and big mega corporations showing open source developers multiple fingers, like, yeah, thank you very much. This is probably our access point, like we have, like, you know what, precious dual shielded Cat6, also Ethernet from my cold dead hands. You're not getting my money if I cannot run my T2 Linux. So yeah, P3 fans, you need to be strong, because no surprises, this dual core, much less clocked. I mean, you only compute, right? Sure, the P3 has a GPU and additional cell broadband acceleration. Yeah, so bin utils here 27 minutes, right? And the estimate is pretty spot on. The only difference is I disabled some bin utils, some prof-ng or so, which sometimes breaks with some Java nonsense, need to disable it. So this build time could actually, between previously, maybe this was built with prof-ng, and so like, this is also the thing, right? Our build time estimate is good, but depending on optimizations, do you optimize for O2, O3, or fast, like double, triple LTO, and feature variations, right? Do you build stuff with half bus and G-object introspection stuff? Anyway, so yeah, 33 minutes. So the G5 is still building. I will also later, or it was building. Did it build? I'll check somewhere. Or maybe we don't have exit or something. That is very clever. And we build. Okay, so then I take this back. At least so much too. I mean, yeah, I was surprised. So yeah, this is why we're doing this. And so the good thing is, okay, the G5 is not as very slow as I thought. So like, hey, it's G5 taking 120 watts from your wall outlet. It's like twice as fast as your last year's access point. Anyway, the coolest thing of all of this, I document this, right? As I documented this, it's of course for myself to have my collection here at hand. Also, that's not only my stuff, right? If you want to submit some stuff. And we document it here, right? So you can go here, and for everything I'm basically also testing, right? Of course, we test our own T2 Linux here. So it has been literally a while since I... why is this this orange background? So this is an old installation, right? So it has been a while. Let's be honest to ourselves. It has been a while since I powered up the G5 the last time. Maybe 4 years or 3. But the big question with that stuff is also some stuff failing because Meson and stuff, like, yeah, actually I didn't want to build this. I only wanted to build bin utils. But last but not least is the question. I probably should make a more mainstream video on my moment channel, because the question then is, I have actually to rethink this. On one thing is it is nice to collect some stuff, and also, by the way, I said it before, I'm significantly scaling back. I mean, I have now 32 systems or so here, 32 systems probably between SG Octane and SGIO2. But the thing is, so not only is the addiction to performance, the only substitute for performance is more performance, and epic and thread gripping. It's like, yeah, is everyone's enthusiast's love for performance killing? It's a love for vintage and retro. And that's also the question, how much sense does it still make to build latest and greatest open source? Because also, bloat is real, right? People always like Mac OS and Windows are bloated. Yeah, Linux is also as bloated, right? Because I built on Phenom and things yesterday, just to get some performance numbers, and I'm shocked how much faster GCC 6 and stuff was, like easily twice as fast, right? Sure, not optimizing as much in LTO, but I mean, yeah, that's also the thing, like if you want faster build times, then optimize lazy or one without LTO, maybe double your build time. And yeah, Sapphire here is this IPC AM3DD 785 with a Phenom 2 X6. I built this, I believe, yesterday, or maybe I didn't update it yet. Maybe I didn't push it to the server. So this builds in 6 minutes or so, as far as I remember. And but this was also with GCC 6 or whatever I had in production on this older system. So yeah, I'm documenting this for you. So WWT2, and we can quickly hardware board as Sapphire IP index performance. Did I commit this somewhere, or did this not build? Okay, fine. Need to check where I left it. Maybe I didn't commit it on my MacBook. So let's add the hardware. That is desktop Apple G5, and so that was board Sapphire IPC, and this is certainly also another public service here, because it's also useful for Gentoo or Linux from scratch users. So we have here, wonderful, I just opened the one, I didn't have that. Server Sun T4. Yeah, leave in the comments below. You'll have to vintage and retro. How much is that still a thing? That is, what do we have here? This is also super old stuff. Should we even leave it in? Switching back and forth console every second. I'm not sure. Suspend does not yet work. Patches for well, there's a super old node. Actually, need to switch. Maybe we delete that because it is nodes from a decade ago. It's like, you know what? Like, nah. So performance. Let's add the performance numbers. We will do P3. Maybe I stop the live stream and welcome everyone, because actually my point of this. Okay, cargo fails for PS3. Cargo, you get cargo later. Because I quickly need to rebuild. Because turns out I also, and that's also the thing, right? You see this with lazy LGR, the 8-bit guy. Who else? Modern Vintage, or this Retro Cave RMC. So, and the thing is, truth be told, a decade ago when I had less systems, let's see, a decade ago I had maybe a dozen systems, right? P3, SG Octane I had, Sun Ultra Spark. A decade ago I used the systems more. When I only, so this is also for the people always longing for more, right? I'm obviously realizing I don't really need much more. Like, sure, maybe a DEC Alpha, maybe Itanium, just to have all architectures covered, but I don't need a Commodore C64 because although technically this was kind of my time, but not really, and because I never played much Commodore C64 like the 8-bit guy. And back in the day when I was young, that was already kind of phasing out, and when I was young, the C64 graphics was already not that amazing. Maybe I played Bubble Bobble. I don't even remember, or maybe Gianna's Sisters. Was it a C64? So I played. I mean, we never had a C64. I think we had a loan C64 from a neighbor for maybe a week or two, so that was, and then I didn't even use it much. Maybe I played Pac-Man once at home in this 1 week or two, and even not too many friends had a C64. So maybe like 2 or 3 times that some friends I played a little. So that was C64, right? So I don't have any like attachment to that. Amiga 500 would be cooler. Maybe I would eventually get an Amiga 500, but we also never had that, right? We had a PC, I said it before, first a 286 loaner for a month or two without VGA, without hard drive. Then our first own 386 SX25 was 2 megabyte, and so on. So I grew up 6 years or something like that with an everything 386 SX25. Nonetheless, our closest neighbors had an Amiga 500, so I played Amiga 500 with my neighbors probably too much. So there I remember, in contrast to our PC, which in the beginning probably didn't even have VGA, probably only Hercules or EGA, whatever. The Amiga 500 games looked amazing and sounded amazing, right? It took significantly, it took a VGA upgrade, it took a Sound Blaster upgrade, and so on. And even then, PC games often sucked, and only much later had sound and graphics comparable to Amiga 500. So although we never had one, I played it much more with neighbors. So maybe eventually get an Amiga 500 would also be cool with our now 3-year-old, eventually some vintage gaming. But my point is, I don't need every system, right? I don't need a PC Junior, I don't need a Tandy 1000. I think I once saw a Tandy, and that was how often I saw a Tandy, right? But nonetheless, my point is, the graphics sucked and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I don't need everything, right? An SGIO2 is an SGIO2 and an P3 is obviously kind of enough. And so my point is also, like a decade ago, I mean, not only did I had like now a professionally run Linux distribution in the companies, like I don't even have time to like play with it. And that is probably true for all the big YouTubers, right? I can't imagine LGR, more than MVG, sure, Retro, Cave, they run a museum. But that's also the thing, like if you're running a museum, you are busy, so probably, I actually don't know what his name is, I probably should look up his name and remember that. But my point is, this guy, this fellow, this colleague, I would imagine he, being so busy collecting, restoring and running a museum, he probably doesn't even have really much time to play stuff. Like the last time I played on my Steam Deck was Christmas, right? This is how, it's like, hey, I use my Steam Deck to live stream, 0 frames, yay. It's like, yeah, we use our Steam Deck, Jupiter 1, AMD APU, where even is it? Why is it not there? There, APU, 0405 APU. It's a Linux machine, right? It's a Linux machine, we use it for work. Literally the last time I gamed, except Pac-Man with my 3-year-old, but the last time I gamed literally was Christmas. This is, shall I subscribe, Patreon, if you want that I have more time to play. Anyway, so yeah, that is a thing, right? I'm obviously aware of that, and I don't need to collect more, except the DEC Alpha and the Titanium. Donations welcome. Maybe an Amiga 500 and maybe an Amiga 600 because it's more compact. But then I don't even know how compatible. I know there were some compatibility glitches and whatnot. It's like, of course, Amiga 600 more compact. I never saw one in real life. I only saw Amiga 500 in real life, I believe, probably. I believe I saw an Amiga 1200 in real life, probably. But anyway, I would even need to do research but probably you can run our games, right? Leave in the comments below. Pro and cons, Amiga 600. Would need to Google it myself. Anyway, my point is, does this performance addiction and bloat, even in Linux and open source, does it kill vintage and retro? And the bigger question is even, and so for decades, like basically for the last 20 years, from 1996 to 2016, so last 20 years. The last 20 years I was like, let's run Linux on everything, right? Like, because HPUX sucks, IBM AIX sucks, Sun Solaris sucks, like the stuff sucks, like why should I run it, right? If I have a Sun Ultra Spark, why should I run Solaris when I can have our amazing Linux distribution. And I'm realizing, so not only can we not reverse, I mean, we could reverse engineer, but basically the point of, I realize, it's like, after 25 years doing Linux, I now realize, after 20 years, maybe there's actually something in it to run some systems with period correct original software. Because not only on HPUX, Hewlett-Packard Precision Architecture, you often have no or very limited graphics support. Even on Sun, Solaris, if you have, on some systems you had 3D graphics on Linux, but it was deleted because NEA sucks. So why maintain OpenGL2? Or God forbid, like devil go away. Like I also, basically I really hate that everything is deleted upstream. Like, oh yes, it's applauded on some Linux sites. I don't understand why, because this code is so tiny and so minimal and it doesn't hurt anybody. I mean, just leave like Sun FFB, I'm looking at you, right, Sun FFB, or even ATI R100, R200. All this code that was once in there to run open source, OpenGL accelerated, hardware accelerated 3D on Sun, UltraSpark, even Creator 3D, which I have. On 15-year-old T2 releases, you could have OpenGL accelerated, and now it's deleted because nobody wants to run it. It's like vintage code, whatever. I'm not appreciating this code deletion too much. But on on SGI Octane, so SGI, we have some frame buffer. I could do 3D, but it would be months, if not a year of work, similar to the P3, right? Although P3, shall I subscribe, give our Patreon or OnlyFans some good love, because RSXY I will eventually do sooner or later, because it is just too useful, and Novo and stuff. But HPUX and SGI, certainly SGI O2, because I was also like, yeah, the software ecosystem on IRIX sucks, and so on. But it was the state-of-the-art highest performance 3D graphic. And now 20 years, especially the mainstream Linux developers doing their best to cripple and delete vintage and retro support that is so much applauded on some news sites. And given that I only now, it basically took like 20 years to appreciate much more to run this hardware with the period correct original software that, as much as we hate to admit it because there are so few people who reverse engineer and re-implement all this stuff, is of course more performance and more functional, right? What sense does it make to run Linux on an SGI-O2 with an unaccelerated frame buffer without 3D? Okay, so actually O2 is a bad example because it didn't even have real hardware 3D, but SGI Octane or HPUX or even Sun UltraSpark, right? You have in 3D labs. I have two, like, I think I have a Realism and an like XVR, whatever that was, 300 and 1000, whatever. But you barely have a frame buffer, right, in Linux. And at times on HPUX, you can't even start a X server because the frame buffer is so limited that that limited frame buffer, it can like barely draw text, and it doesn't have palette support and whatnot, so you can't, or direct mapping support or whatever, so you can't even run, or 8-bit support deleted upstream potentially, maybe, whatever the cases might be, but you are lucky if you have an barely readable, at times even palette incorrect, color incorrect frame buffer on HP UX. Anyway, so that is the question. Leave in the comments below. As much I would also appreciate if the manufacturers, which are at times out of business, think Hewlett-Packard, this RISC stuff, precision architecture RISC stuff, closed or moved on. SGI sold, closed. It's now a rack mountable system, whatever the new name is. I would appreciate if this specifications would be open, right? We could write so amazing software if we would not need to spend half of the time reverse engineering it, right? I spent already literally 3 years ago, I did some Xorg server work on the SG Octane, right? I implemented hardware cursor because it just sucks so much. Like even the cursor flickers, right? So I implemented hardware cursor, which took way too much, like probably it took a week, reverse engineering all this nonsense. And then I even couldn't get the color palette in the RAM deck to set right. Extremely strange stuff. I found some specifications that I believe from an earlier SGI, whatever, Newport or whatnot, from, was it Video Controller 1 and that was Video Controller 2, something of that sort. It is 3 years, right? So I found some somewhat matching stuff. This RAM deck is so strangely connected with so strange buses. I could in 3 days or so, like in a whole weekend and Monday, because as usual, like 3 years ago, I spent the whole weekend reverse engineering, fiddling and stuff. It's like nothing worked, completely strange stuff on the SG Octane Impact. And then as usual, I was so addicted and upset that in the weekend I couldn't get it to work. I even spent the Monday at work trying to get the bloody, like basically I spent 3 full days on a bloody hardware cursor, and in the end I couldn't get the colors to change, right? It's like due. I really wish the vendors would release a specification, especially when stuff goes out of business. I also would wish more people would have the courage, right? There must be some, like, by the way, if you've worked at some microsystems, SGI, Transmeta, if you, as I said before, more people should have the courage to publish docs. There must be people in the Silicon Valley, good old SGI or Sun Microsystems engineers who have the specification in paperback printed or old Spark Station storage. I wish more people would have the courage to leak them somewhere, just for computer architecture, museum, archiving, and preservation, and open source people to do something with the hardware. And if you watch this, if you worked at SGI or some microsystems and want to leak me some documentations, I'm happy to archive and use them and circulate them and stuff. Anyway, yeah, stuff is building. We wanted to document this times, right? So long story short, leave in the comments below. Maybe I make a question, maybe I make a poll on my moment channel. So let's document this stuff. So what were we building here? That was a G5. Let's document the G5 time. And I'm aware, so this is not the latest GCC. So this build on the G5 is a little bit faster because it's a 4-year-old or so installation, or maybe even maybe 6 years old. Time is running so fast, man. It really shows that I run Linux distribution for 25 years. So where's our bin utils? Here's our bin utils. Here somewhere, 13 minutes, 44 seconds. And so that's slightly older, but that doesn't matter too much performance. So bin utils. And this is also, by the way, our rolling release source distribution at work, right? I just SVN upped here. It's like just before the live stream, right? That is the latest. And it just continue emerging stuff, right? On A, by the way, let's just emerge. So usually I use missing only because for the most part it doesn't matter which tech info and whatnot in bin utils and GCC. Missing only, and then neo fetch probably builds in freaking, even that takes 8 seconds to extract and install instead of like 1 second on a app threading epic thread gripping Ryzen. 8 seconds. It's just so I'm so happy with this new feature. I'm so in love. So in love with this feature. Amazing. Yeah, neo fetch. You get that. Power Mac 11,2. Two good old PowerPC 970 MP. 2.5 gigahertz, not making previous video. Right? I have a full edited video how to disassemble, look inside this beauty, and maybe the first ever testing, because you can never be sure, right? Is this pin compatible? Is it firmware compatible? And whatnot. But it is. It's just the same 970 MP that comes out of the quad core. Amazing. People get motivation to learn C. That's amazing. Dr. Schubert was just watching the 80 thread power, open power video. Curious about benchmarks as usual. Yeah, I documented that. That should be online, right? So my goal is, obviously like 4 years later, it takes 4 years. I mean, I can't unpack every system. They are nicely archived. I said it also in 3 years. I probably soon redecorate the small little office. I also need to move. If you, I would love to get into some industrial ruin. Like if you have an industrial ruin for cheap for sale or rent in Berlin, I need a cool filming and studio location. I just can't find a proper industrial ruin because some are all sold or falling apart. Shame. I probably need to redecorate, like basically stacking some systems. Like I just don't have time, right? I'm coding and benchmarking so much. I don't even have time to redecorate our shabby office. The power, open power stuff is online already, I believe. That is here in server, of course in server, and then it's a tie-in, right? It's tie-in, server, tie-in. I also need to further improve the website, tie-in TN71 and stuff. So yeah, 3 minutes 32. And let's finish here. So that is that with, which GCC was it? That is with GCC, that is old. Yeah, it's from 6 years ago. So you might need to, unfortunately, because every, in general, every GCC release, because bloat features, new standards, new optimizations and stuff, it might double the build time, because every year, like 10% slower, like after 6 years, it's eventually twice as slow, but yeah. GCC. However, yeah, we should test. I'm literally building that here, right? Like you saw this scrolling by in the last minutes. Danny will probably build a T2 box again. That's amazing. Some spare parts laying around. Can use 42. That is happy to hear. And as you see, this stuff becomes increasingly like we have more developers. We have Exa code, press release from some years ago promising like SUSE pouring 20 million over the next decades. In T2 development, you see me here more developing, even more than ever before, testing, fixing, benchmarking, optimizing, and new usability features, and so much more to come. So that is CPU info. We will also automate that. I will probably soon, actually not, let's put this on the to-do because nothing having 500 to-do items. We will probably bundle some script to upload hardware listings and including the benchmark. Probably this will be like whatever the name, we need to come up with a cool name. And leave cool names down below. And then also including the benchmark, right? Like collecting this LS CPU stuff. Like maybe we also need to change it. Like LS CPU or something of that might be better than this. Like historically, I collected CPU info, but I realize other detailed listings obviously can be at times cooler. So we also probably have, where did I file it? Did I file it under embedded? Probably embedded links. Yeah, the thing is, it's at times difficult to sort this, right? Which category is it? Is this embedded? Is it appliances? It's like, as always, if you think some stuff could be better, drop me an email, drop a comment, drop a Patreon note, go to Discord, all the good stuff. So links is WRT 1900 AC. Let's document that fine. What do we have here? Why do we have here an MTP? Links is yada yada, or maybe this is supposed to be here. And do we have this still? We don't. Let's also, the noise is rain. At least it's raining and not flooding here, thanks to the weather gods. But I also, it's getting a little bit fresh. Usually freaking office too hot. Now it's getting a little bit fresh. I have here some windows open because heat. So that is state of the art though, right? The irony is I set up this access point recently. Oh, this is also too much. GCC. I only documented GCC because that is a major component that influences that. The other stuff is like, yeah, whatever. So am I in linksys? Yes, I am. So linksys goes here. And again, I hope this also helps people with Linux from scratch, so everyone is invited to come here. Also, like, in general, you don't need to run T2. Like, if you want to contribute to our hardware listings, just send some in. Even if you Linux from scratch or Gentoo, the more gathered, like, we probably need to automate that further, make it easier to send it in and stuff. And because this clearly helps people, right? Like if you want to emerge stuff on Gentoo or Linux from scratch, then because Linux from scratch, it was by design. I intentionally did it 20 years by design that our stuff is binutils based, just like. And if Linux from scratch changes that, we will not change it, right? We will continue to, because they changed it from Bash to binutils, I believe, 20 years ago. So we will stay for binutils. I'm not setting up all the infrastructure and then changing it, right? So it will be binutils based time for the next decades to come. Where was so this is G5. By the way, yeah, G5, whatever. Where is my here somewhere? Didn't scroll too far. I mean, we could. All right, Control B because that is not my. So, but didn't scroll too far. Otherwise, we could here 27 minutes. In my opinion, that is pretty useful. I should have done it from the beginning, but retroactively, you are always more clever and stuff. I'm still not. Maybe we change the formatting here right now. Leave console this year. It's probably confusing. We probably leave comments below. Should we do that like that, or should we do it like that? Like this dash is minutes, right? Should we 27 dash for minutes, 27 seconds? We could then go like. I googled that. I couldn't yet find the best international ISO standard for time delta. Leave in the comments below how we should best. Because I changed our T2 stuff. Our T2 stuff currently outputs this like this. XML power, thank you very much. We have some breakage for some reason, not really sure. It built last week, no, some stuff breaks. You put so much time into it, and at the end of the day, new stuff breaks. It's the only constant is change and regressions. So, access point, did I do anything else? I did some other systems. Some systems that we have in production, like with QEMU and stuff, like for example, we have a Mac Mini in production, the last quad core from a decade ago. We have Phenom 2 X6 and X4 in production, because why change hardware if the stuff that's in production still runs it? We have cheapskates here. But on this old Phenoms, the rolling release T2 is too old. It doesn't build binutils for stupid reasons. So I'm not further messing with that, right? I rather update the Mac Mini sometime soon with the latest T2 installation. After 6 years, it's probably time. And the P3 we will do in a second. So T2 is on the desk. The P3, I'm building this because somehow the last build is not, the last kernel apparently was not totally rock solid stable on the P3. Recurring theme height regressions. Let's hope this kernel will. I will also next. So the next thing that annoys me is I personally would want a percentage counter here for even myself. You see, it's a little bit tricky to do because we need to count log files. I mean, it's not impossible, similar to that. U-power, no, whatever. I'm not interested in all this stuff right now, whatever. Some other also PyCache, now, whatever. Yeah, okay, this is only PyCache, doesn't it? That comes from emerging everything on your VM. Anyway, so yeah, been there, done that. P3 time would be interesting, but probably disappointing. Yeah, Dr. Schubert, your RX. By the way, there was as you are here, are you still here? I believe, I just don't. So you have a RX 2620, right? I believe there was, I'm not sure if it's already sold. So RX, I believe there was a, what did you say you have? 26, was this 2660? Shit, where was it? Or was it also? Do I have it? Maybe it's sold already. Maybe I should have brought it instantly. The problem was it was as usual not in Germany. Ah shit, now I don't have my eBay password here. Here is that even? Oh yeah, they reduced the price. I should probably buy it for this price. Shit. So that's a 26 RX 2660. I believe they reduced the price even. Is this still recent? Why is here not... Why is there not a purchase button? I probably should buy it if it doesn't disappear now while talking about on a live stream. So RX 2660 is then slightly newer than yours. They're right here. 2 times Itanium 1.42 gigahertz. How many gigahertz do you have? Should probably not discuss it on... Yeah, this guy writes, no, I only need an alpha system. Yes, indeed. And an Itanium. So, yeah, this only fails because, yeah, atomics. I thought I fixed this once, but still some exotic combination polishing needed. Share, like, subscribe for all the good stuff. So all I need is the kernel, and I want to boot the PS3. I believe so. This is probably all we need to do with the G5 today. Yeah, but given this, so BTOP doesn't build, I would need to install a new GCC because BTOP, I mean, it's of course not the most important thing. But let's emerge extern. Let's see if that works. Do we have even Rust on this? Okay, we don't even have Rust. It's CR9. Okay, this is really old from 2017. It's like freaking six freaking years old. It's even way before my YouTube career. So the question is, this one caveat though is with this rolling release stuff, you need to, for T2 to work best, you need to at least like every quarter update some stuff, right? I mean, for security reasons, you would want to do that anyway, like emerge system stuff. So what at times will fail, or like it's like missing only accept. So because after 6 years, there are too many major library dependencies, right? So Xterm also could fail because of whatever libx11 changes and whatnot. By the way, I did this intentionally. So yeah, don't expect. But how you could fix this is you could subversion update like from 3 years ago. Like there's subversion up, svn up -r revisions, and stupid syntax curly braces 20, like let's say 2020 or 101 or whatever. Says subversion update revision by date. And then you have like in the middle and then emerge update. Then it's not impossible. It's totally doable, right? To gradually, like if you wanted to rolling release, source update your 6-year-old Apple G5 installation. So your machine comes with 1.3 gigahertz medicine. So yeah, they don't specify it. Would a 2660, if that is so, did I say 2660, right? I probably should buy it before it's, I need to speak with my contact in UK because I would not, or should I just ship it to Germany? I mean, okay, if it's a reduced price, maybe I should ship it to, I mean, the thing is it's actually, you know what, that is also, I mean, it's, because if I ship it to a friend in UK, how to get it, it's like I can't ask a friend in UK, actually I can't use my sister, I can't ask my sister-in-law, hey, can you fly? It's one thing to, hey, can I ship a Hewlett-Packard server to you? It's like, hey, could you bring it in your check-in luggage too? It's like, saving, like, cheapskating on the wrong stuff, right? It's like, yeah, better pay the import fees and yeah, it's not like taking a ferry and a car and stuff to pick up or flying to London to collect your yeah, doesn't make sense. So you were saying 10 minutes, so 10 minutes Itanium, so you're saying it takes 10 minutes to build binutils on a T2 installation, or? Interesting. Sounds interesting. So you're saying is that your Itanium who builds, which builds? But you need to set. So I don't have an. Did I add the page? I mean, I believe. Did you once send the data in Discord? Did I add it? So that would be server, right? Server HP. Did I add this sometimes? I didn't add this yet, apparently. Why do... Ah, wait, do I have... Oh, this is desktop. What do you even do here? Did I... Why do I not have Hewlett Packard here? No, don't have that here. Okay, this is actually not too bad. I mean, 10 minutes is... So... Hey, extern builds. So that sounds... So you're... I mean, this is actually pretty amazing performance, honestly, for... I mean, maybe this G4 build could be more optimized. Like maybe it's not the most optimized build, but otherwise it sounds like, so you have one single socket 1.4. No, 1.3. Ah no, you upgrade to a dual core 1.6. Okay. Okay, so your dual core 1.6 gigahertz is slightly faster than a 2.5 gigahertz G5. That sounds interesting. So much to Itanium did not suck entirely. Potentially, maybe. Anyway, so we stored that. And we can power off that already. Save some electrons. G5 there. Oh, WebKit, thank you very much. Yeah, some stupid nonsense. Probably need to fix Firefox. Yeah, if you want to see Firefox on the G5 and P3, don't forget to Patreon and YouTube membership. Your machine... Yeah, you only would need to send me the text data. I can pretty print it, right? Like if you... Like just some text, or I believe you probably previously sent maybe something on Discord. I mean, yeah, just the text data, I can copy and paste it, and you don't need to format a HTML-like template thing here. So with that building, it's time to, yeah, we probably could stop this live stream here. I don't need to live stream 40 minutes fighting with actually booting. Why is the P3 so dusty? Did some moron not reuse it properly? Did some stupid YouTuber only use it for office decoration? So much dust. By the way, I polished that, right? The DECR. I'm pretty actually, because when I got this DECR 1400, it was so much more filthy and scratched. It looks really good, though. So yeah, I polished it. It was more scratchy. I polished it for 20 minutes with plastic polish. Anyway, so that's it for this video. The time might be better not using LTO, which, yeah, that could be LTO, yeah, that's true. But the G5 also didn't use this G5 installation. Yeah, we should probably, maybe we should add, I mean, I only added 6 or so performance data yet. Maybe we should include in brackets, like maybe, oh, smart, no LTO or so. Just to get an additional performance hint of what optimization was used. Question there, what you think about channels that benchmark on Windows without knowing what being tested and without any metrics? Just seeing how much FPS or score software does. Yeah, benchmarking on Windows is... I wouldn't want to do that because each software and driver could fluctuate performance so much. I didn't really think much about it, except some... I mean, yeah, what should they do? They just install Windows. I mean, the also the thing is, like, which patch level of Windows are you running? Not even sure if LTT and Gamers Nexus include such info. I wonder if they always retest that, like Gamers Nexus and LTT, leave in the comments below. Because certainly the performance could be vastly different. You benchmark some stuff last month when it came out, and then you add some, like you benchmark Intel's latest, and then a month or two later you benchmark AMD. Like, do they always retest everything? Which obviously would be freaking time consuming. but also certainly Apple and Orange comparison, if they compare Intel's latest from a month ago and AMD's latest then a month later with whatever Windows and driver updates and game patches changed since then. But maybe they have a system that they don't touch. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. But certainly it's not the most clear. But certainly benchmarking on Windows. I mean, even benchmarking on T2, right? Because as I said, even we benchmark, compare apples and oranges because I didn't reinstall this G5. Also, this stuff failed. Thank you very much. Why does this fail? It's nothing like this is storage stuff. Did I not? I thought did I commit this? So yeah, even on T2, but it's similar to those Windows gaming benchmarks, right? How much time do I have to reinstall everything and so on? So it's not like this 50 minutes for this live stream. So yeah, that's it for this video as usual. If you have any comments and stuff and Patreon and all the other good stuff, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and maybe later we go live for some P3 love. Also, hope you enjoyed this, learned something, like this collected benchmark data, and have a good day and night, and I hope to see you soon for the next fun stuff to come.